campaign was run, and I'll tell you why. It is a different type of campaign because I'm the only candidate who will stand before you and tell you that no president, not Bernie Sanders or anybody else, can do it alone. And the reason for that is a reason that most politicians or media folks don't talk about. And that is that the powers that run this country, Wall Street, corporate America, large campaign, those powers are so extraordinary that no president alone can bring about the kinds of transformations that working families and the middle class need. The only way we accomplish I was in Birmingham, Alabama. Many of you remember that during the civil rights struggle, there was a bombing at a church and 4 beautiful children were killed. What I did not know until I went to Birmingham is that that bombing was the 14th bombing during that month alone. In other words, you have racist terrorists who were trying to deny people in that city and in that state the most basic democratic rights. But those people were unbound. Those people stood up and they fought back. That is courage and determination. And we have the women's movement in this country. In America, we have millions of people working 2 or 3 jobs, trying to cobble together some income and some health care. And yet, mom is working, dad's working, the kids are working, and 58% of all new income is going to the top 1%. Is this boisterous crowd ready for a radical idea? That people are working so many hours is that wages in this country are just too low. 25 cents an hour minimum wage is a starvation wage. We are going to raise the minimum wage to a living wage, $15. When we talk about equitable wages, I hope every man in this room will stand with the women in the fight for pay equity. And there is no rational economic reason why women are making 79 cents on the dollar compared to men. It's old-fashioned sexism. When we talk about our economy, let's all understand that while official unemployment nationally is 5%, real unemployment is almost double that, and youth unemployment for kids who graduated high school is off the charts. Today in America, for a high school graduate between 17 and 20, if that kid is white, 33% real unemployment, Latino 36%, African American 51%. If anybody here thinks there is not a correlation between outrageously high youth unemployment and another national and international embarrassment, the fact that we have more people in jail than any other country on earth. If you don't see the correlation, you're missing an important point, and that is why together we are going to invest in education and jobs for our kids. And jobs for our kids, not more jails, not more incarceration. You know, in this election season, you see a lot of Republicans running all over the place talking about family values. All values. But it's important for all of us to truly understand what they mean by family values. What they mean is that no woman in this room, in this state, in this country should have the right to control her own body. What they mean is the federal government should defund Planned Parenthood. I believe we should expand funding. When Republicans talk about family values, what they are saying is that our LGBT brothers and sisters do not have the right to get married. I disagree. Jane and I have been married for 27 years. We have 4 kids, 7 beautiful grandchildren. Our views on family values just a little bit different than the Republicans. When I talk about family values, I talk about ending the international embarrassment of the United States being the only major country on earth that does not guarantee pay everything in my power to overturn citizens. When you have the second wealthiest family in America, the Koch brothers, you know about the Koch brothers. When you have them and a few of their billionaire friends prepared to spend some $900 million on this campaign, more money than either the Democratic Party or the Republican Party will spend. Brothers and sisters, that is not democracy, that is oligarchy, and we're going to take it. When we talk about what goes on in this country today, every person here knows that if we are going to compete internationally, we need the best educated workforce in the world. It is beyond comprehension that hundreds of thousands of bright young people today who have the ability and the qualifications cannot go to college for one reason alone, and that is their families lack the money. That is not only unfair to those young people, it is unfair to the future of America. Now, 100 years ago and longer, very brave people fought to create public education in America. And what they said is that it's wrong for the wealthy families to have their kids get a good education while working class kids were working on farms or factories. That was a major breakthrough. But a lot has changed in the last 100 years, and in many ways, a college degree today is the equivalent of what a high school degree was 50 years ago. That is why I believe that when we talk about public education today, it's not good enough to talk about first grade through 12th grade. We have got to make public colleges and universities tuition free. And when we do that, it will be a revolutionary moment in education in this country. Because you will have kids like my family. My parents never went to college. You got kids all over this country whose parents never went to college, who do not believe they will ever be able to go to college. I want every kid in this country to know that if you do your schoolwork well, regardless of the income of your family, you will get a college. And then there's another higher education issue we have got to for thinking too boldly, too big. You gotta think a little bit slower. One area that I have been criticized on is that I happen to believe that the United States should join the rest of the industrialized world and guarantee health care to all people. Let me say this as clearly as I possibly can. I believe that health care is a right, not a privilege. The Affordable Care Act has made significant progress. More needs to be done. We should not be paying far more per capita for health care than any other nation. We should not be paying the highest prices in the world for prescription drugs. 29 million Americans should not be without health insurance. And more should not be underinsured with large deductibles and co-payments. We can. That is why I believe in a Medicare for all single payer. In the Senate, I am a member of the Environmental Committee and the Energy. And I have talked to scientists all over this country and all over the world. The debate is over. Climate change is real. It is caused by human activity, and it is already doing devastating harm to our country and around the world. And this is what the scientists are telling us. They are saying that if we do not act boldly in the very near future, if we do not transform our energy system, a bad situation today will only get worse. More drought, more floods, more extreme weather disturbances, more rising sea levels, more acidification of the ocean, and more international conflict as people fight over limited natural resources. A global responsibility to lead this planet in a way that is healthy and habitable to future generations. The United States must work with China, Russia, India, countries all over the world to take on the fossil fuel industry. Tell them that their short-term profits are not more important than the future of this planet. What this campaign is about is telling the billionaire class, corporate America and Wall Street, that they cannot continue to have it all. We are going to tell them that in this great country, yes, health care will be a right of all people. That in this great country, we are going to have a first-class child care system and public colleges and universities. We'll have paid family and medical leave. And we are going to rebuild our crumbling infrastructure. And yes,